going to start off with a kicker question.
Okay.
A change of pace. How are things going, and do you see, is there any separation right now?
Well, I think they're really close. I think that they're both doing a great job. There's not a ton of separation there. Both of them rebounded from some days that they could have kicked better, and I thought they kicked pretty solid today. So it's just a matter of who's going to execute when the game comes down to it. And they're competing, they're doing everything we're asking them to do, and really look forward to see how it's going to shake out.
I have a holder question to shake things
Okay.
up, and I might be dating myself, but it's two-part. One, at what point did backup quarterbacks stop being the holder? And I'm guessing it's because the specialists work together, maybe for time purposes. Mm-hmm. But and then how important is the holder and kicker relationship for mental confidence?
Those are two really good questions. I think that I think they started going away from that quite a while ago, just because the time for the backup quarterbacks doing it to work with the specialists would have to be before or after practice, when we can work together doing all the situational stuff and everything like that the whole time as a specialist group, right? So that's a really good question. The other one, as far as the snapper and the holder, they are extremely important, and that whole operation, is huge to a kicker's success. And I think you can see that over time with people that have worked together for quite a while. You can see it right away with people that haven't. If you get a new kicker in and stuff like that, and they have a new holder. There's some time to get adjusted, just like any other thing, any other position. So once you get the ability to work together all the time, and the more that they can, that they hang out with each other and they like each other and they spend time with each other and especially work together, that's a huge element to it for sure.
Coach, this organization has struggled with special teams through multiple coordinators. What assurances did you need to hear from Shanahan or Lynch when they offered you the job before you would agree to take it?
I don't need any assurances. What I wanted to come to is a really good winning organization with proven people that are nothing but class guys and a class organization, which this has been an awesome place for us and for me and my family. I think that there's going to be some growing pains a little bit as far as the guys learning the system and stuff like that, and hopefully we can get all those shook out before the regular season starts. But they're learning, they're coming along every day. It's been unbelievable communication with as far as special teams guys and players and stuff like that with Kyle and Shanahan with Lynch and his group. I think it's been really good. I've been really happy with it.
Kyle said before that he gets more. He thinks sometimes he gets more out of a joint practice from another game than he does from the actual game, from the preseason game. Is that way in the special teams too? And how big is that going to be for you guys?
Sure, it's going to be big because it's big for a lot of people because it's the first time we get to see him competing against other people. We see him every day here. I think a lot of times, in practice, you can't simulate the game kind of tempo, because you're not taking people to the ground, you're not tackling people, you're not, where I'm not asking them to be so physical in practice because we'll get people hurt, right? And so when we scrimmage people like this here in the next couple of weeks, I think it's really valuable, especially for those young guys that need a ton of reps, that haven't had a bunch of reps, and they see what it's like to go against not just the guys they've been going against all the time. They see new players that they're going and you find out, the guys that are listening and taking the techniques to the field. And what you see is in the first game is generally they just try to kind of, you can see it over time how they just grow and grow and grow every rep that they take. And so, I think that experience is very valuable for sure.
When the kickoff rule changed, I know you guys talk about kind of figuring out how what the best return combination is. Running backs and a fullback, two receivers, whatever it was. What did you learn from last year, and how do you kind of view what you're looking for?
I think it's a good question. I think it was a good, a really big adjustment for everybody in the league, and I think the first 4 or 5 games, I think we were all learning, obviously, because we hadn't done it before, and some of the stuff that we had majored in the past, we had to change. But I think that, the longer the season went, we started figuring out what would work and what didn't work and stuff like that through practice and in the games, and then you make the applicable changes, right? And then you try to find those guys that whatever our guys do best, and so within that scheme. And so, you know, I majored in something that if my returner changes, I have to change schemes that to benefit what he does best. And I think that that's a big element to what, you know, all the special teams coaches have to do. You've got to understand what kind of personnel you have and what they do best, and try to put them in the best positions to succeed.
Challenge then for you, I mean, putting more on your plate in terms of trying to figure that out.
It's a big challenge for sure. It really is. You know, I mean, a lot of hours spent, you know, studying tape and you know, all the stuff that, you know, I think it was the XFL or whatever it was that was doing it before, and you know, it was we studied a ton of tape, and you know, tried to figure out what we could get to and what we couldn't, and through trial and error and stuff like that in practice, you know, could I run, you know, all these double returns that I used to run, you couldn't get to them from these new alignments and stuff like that. So I think maybe with some you know, this extra guy back this year, there's a possibility that you can get to some of that, but it's all going to be trial and error, like I said, from here on out as well.
On that subject, you've got running backs that are used to zone running, what they do on offense. Does that lend itself to kick returns at all? Just you know, being able to kind of follow a track and then quickly cut up field?
Sure, I think it's a good question as well. I think that you know, anytime you can have those returners, I always tell the returners they're the best blockers that we have, because if you can set it up to a certain side or whatever, it's going to open up the front side as well as the back side. But if you run straight up the middle and you're just going up the middle, everybody's going to squeeze and contain the field on you, and so it's going to constrict your lanes. And so those zone kind of runners that can take all of the air out and put their foot in the ground and get vertical, that's what we're looking for. And it certainly helps having a scheme, and answer your question that we're in here, it certainly helps for sure.
How has Bergen looked so far handling punts?
He looks good. He looks good. He's you know, he's learning to catch some. We're kicking him some different balls that he's going to get during the season, whether it's the banana ball or whether it's the directional aim right and then pulls left. And so we're working on all those kicks with all those guys. And so they're all getting back there, and they're all learning every day, and they're all improving every day, and it's going to be interesting to see how it shakes out.
Do you do that from, well, maybe it's both. Do you do that from machine or Morstead?
More of Morstead, just so he can give them all those kicks, because it's really hard to simulate those banana balls and you know, the aim one way and then pull it back to the left and stuff like that, with those guys having to be in the middle of the field, because a lot of times through study they'll see what way you know, by the punter's alignment, which way they're kicking and stuff like that. But if you have those, you know, if you can get them off the spot, so to speak, with those returners, and get them over playing one side and then kick it back to the other, that's all the stuff that they need work on, not only the punter but the returners as well.
Do you know what happened to Grendo on that special teams drill?
I don't.
Assuming it's not serious there, is he a candidate to be on kickoff returns? He had some good ones last year. He's big, he's fast.
Durendo? Yeah, there's a whole group of guys, and he's one of them for sure. They're doing a really nice job communicating back there, and you know, all this practice stuff. And as much as we'd like to say one guy's pulling you know, ahead of another, it's tough to see until they get in the game and see how they react and see what decisions that they make. Are they secure? You know, or is the ball secure? Are they hitting the holes at 100 miles an hour like we're going to want them to? So that's something that you can evaluate in the games, and it's hard to do in practice. But they're all doing a really nice job.
Will returns be somewhat close to live in this scrimmage with Denver?
I mean, you can simulate as close as you can. We just don't want anybody on the ground or anything like that, you know. So you really got to try to work together and take care of each other when you do these scrimmages, for sure.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.